Today we continue with the story, The Curse of the Crooked Cross. If the Reverend Prior had hoped that after this operation the hair of the Crooked Cross would grow no more, he was doomed to disappointment. As fast as the razor cut away the growth, it reappeared, and whilst the operation was proceeding, one brother even declared he smelt a faint odour of brimstone. The prior was a meek, yet wise old man. As a rule, he paid little attention to stories of witchcraft. He had, in fact, in several instances prevented old women, so-called witches, from being tortured. For he had learning enough to consider that the sufferings of those supposed to be bewitched were really the symptoms of disease. Yet here was the curse operating under his very nose. Night was now coming on. The priory doors were all closed, yet no one wished to retire to rest. Poor Brother Francis was suffering acutely, not from bodily pain, but mental anguish. Much he regretted his rash words to the old witch. To be the sport of the powers of darkness was surely an awful punishment. He implored the prior for help. He confessed and desired absolution. Penance was appointed, and he knelt before the altar, but in his state the prior dared only let him gaze on the relic of the Holy Cross. 2 monks were appointed to watch with him all night, whilst the prior, with the remainder of the fraternity, retired to rest. Few, however, went to sleep, and among the wakeful ones was the prior himself. Early next morning he arose and gave orders that none of the brethren should visit the town. The fearful news must not be bruited abroad among the citizens. He sent for Brother Francis, who came, looking dejected and sad. The crooked, hairy cross was more conspicuous than ever on his shaven crown, for the hair had grown about 1 inch in length during the night. The 2 monks reported that they had watched all night and had observed nothing, except that in the dim light of the chapel, lamps and candles, they thought they beheld now and then scintillations of blue light to sparkle in the crooked cross. Puzzled and perturbed, the good old prior gave orders for Brother Francis to be shaved again, and announced that before partaking of the morning meal he would perform the rite of exorcism, the brothers likewise fasting meanwhile. Preparations were immediately made in the chapel, and Brother Francis knelt before the altar with a clean-shaven crown. The rite proceeded, but alas, exorcism was of no avail. Before the service was half over, the ugly sign reappeared, and the witch's curse was proved to be so potent so as to resist the prior's incantations. What was next to be done? The sufferer had become an object of dread to the monks, who did not dare approach him lest the crooked cross should prove to be contagious. The brethren went to the refectory to breakfast that morning and partook of the meal in utter silence. By the prior's orders, the cross-marked brother had his morning meal alone in his cell. To hear the end of this story, tune in for the next instalment.